Thanks for the opportunity that's given to me. For this chance, I will do the presentation about the use of semantic mapping to improve vocabulary mastery of 7th grade of SMP Negeri 1 Telukdalam. My name is Witri Karunia. I'm student of English Language Education Study Program Faculty of Teacher Training and Education, Niasraya University. Chapter 1 Introduction. Background of the problem. Language is a system of conventional spoken, manual sign or written symbols by means of which human beings, as members of a social group and participants in its culture, express themselves. The function of language include communication, the expression of identity, play, imagine, expression, and emotional release. The language is have a big part in education, communication, both formal and informal. The language is have a big part in education because the students in school thought to have a good language and able to socialization well with other people. English becomes a mandatory subject in Indonesian and then have the curriculum. There are 4 basic skills that must be mastered by English learners in English learning. Those are listening, speaking, reading, and writing. These 4 skills must be mastered by students who learn English because aims of syllabus, such as students should be able to speak well in English, they can interact with other people using English and understanding English context. One of components the students learn is vocabulary, which it helps the students to understand when the teacher explains the material or listen in the class, and they can join speech when other students speak. Vocabulary is like foundation for the language because without words nothing can be conveyed, then cannot deliver what we want to say and cannot socialize with others people because do not know how they way socialize without talking. The extent of vocabulary will make it easy for people to communicate and avoid misunderstanding in communicating. The low vocabulary of students in English is generally influenced by various factors. One of them is inappropriate teaching strategies used by teacher. In teaching of vocabulary for junior high school, teacher needs an appropriate and different strategy from the traditional way. In order that the students feel enjoyable, become active in classroom. So, based on the research, I would like and I have the inspiration to perform action research strategy to enhance students' mastery of vocabulary. So, I find some strategy that is using semantic mapping. With the semantic mapping, teacher giving only one word and the next action students make with their words. Then semantic mapping can expand students' vocabulary very well. In addition, semantic mapping has the advantage of making students not bored in learning. Students are able to express their ideas and did not be pegged to just one vocabulary. Furthermore, semantic mapping strategies not only teachers who help students' vocabulary, but students who participate in improving their vocabulary. And the next is part B, formulation of the problem. Based on the background, the researchers formulate how can the use of semantic mapping to improve students' vocabulary mastery of 7th grade at SMP Negeri 1 Telukdalam. And the researchers also limitation of the problem. The researchers focus on improve students' vocabulary mastery using semantic mapping strategy of the 7th grade SMP Negeri 1 Telukdalam. The objective of the research is to describe how semantic mapping strategy could improve students' vocabulary at SMP Negeri 1 Telukdalam. And next is the significance of the research. The first is for the teacher. For the English teacher at SMP Negeri 1 Telukdalam, the result of this study could be evaluate information of how to develop students' vocabulary mastery by using semantic mapping. Teachers are supposed to be able to inspire themselves to develop their skill in semantic mapping strategy. And the second is the students. The researchers hope the students got their interesting again to study about English, especially vocabulary, and continue to memorize the words of English language. And the third is the researchers. For other researchers, the findings of the research could be used as knowledge for other researchers in order to improve the efficiency of teaching learning English as a foreign language. Okay, next, let's continue to explain the theoretical framework. Part A, vocabulary mastery. The nature of vocabulary. According to Hornby, describes vocabulary as all the words a person understands or uses, all the words in a specific language, and words that people use while communicating about a particular subject, and a list of words with their meanings. Then vocabulary is a collection of words in a particular language that an individual knows and that has a meaning. It means that a language is made up of a collection of words that make up a coherent language. Well, the second is vocabulary mastery. According to Nation, high frequency words are very significant because they occupy a very large proportion of the words used in both spoken and written text. In comparison, mastering at last high frequency words will help students understand the target language. Yes, vocabulary mastery is very important to us as a students because vocabulary as basic or fundamental to understand the language, and we can say anything and communicate with the other if we have built our vocabulary. And the third is about the importance of vocabulary. According to how can propose that vocabulary building involves both understanding the meaning of words and learning how to decipher such words. Part B, semantic mapping. According to Harvey et al., semantic mapping strategies are useful research for teaching. One common characteristic seen in the semantic mapping approach is it reveals the other and complements of the student's reasoning process, and limitations in comprehension become clear. And in here, I put some form of a semantic mapping. The first is star diagram. You can see in this slide, in the verse is, so the students can make the star diagram like the star, so they can build their vocabulary about one word and then combine the other word. And the next is spider diagram. The spider diagram also one form of semantic mapping. And the third is fishbone diagram and the cluster diagram. And next is the form of semantic mapping the students can use in teaching learning. That is three diagrams. And then is the child diagram, and then chain diagrams, and also vocabulary map graphic organizer. This is more easy for students to master their vocabulary because they can image the word and more easy to them to remind every word because it is more interesting. They can use all the shape or also combined by the uh, good color, so they are able to memorize very fast and they can enjoy to learn. And the next is the procedure for using semantic mapping. So in here we have the third uh, procedure using semantic mapping, that is the key question or concept. And the next is terms and supports. Four is learning vocabulary by using semantic mapping. So this is my research about using semantic mapping for teaching learning in the classroom. So learning vocabulary using semantic mapping can be achieved by applying the word map strategy, choosing a word or term central to the subject, showing the target word or term, creating as many aspects as possible that correspond to the target word, such as the detective, the discovery, and etc. This strategy incorporates a variety of other memory strategies, group use imagery, and associate or elaborate and this strategy is also valuable for improving both the memory and the comprehension of a new word, and even for enriching its vocabulary. And chapter 3 is methodology. Research method. So I use the quantitative method to do the research, and then is a research design, have three, that is experimental, correlational, and survey. And then is a data collection. The researchers do tests to collate the data. And the next is about data analysis. The researchers do the testing requirement, and in testing requirement have two part. This is normality test and part B homogeneity test, and the part C statistical hypothesis test and test of effect size. So this is the explanation for my research about the use of semantic mapping to improve vocabulary mastery of 7th grade of SMP Negeri 1 Telukdalam. Thanks for your attention.